because tend to be very different agendas. Chelsea Manchester United now back into those top four positions of the Watford. Can they get something? Can they cause a bit of an upset here today? We have something to boost their chances of survival. So every opportunity for the guys out there to go for it. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. We're going to be joining the next person right now, Mrs. Fakoya, Ade Fakoya. I apologize for the way we cut off Folawe, but we'll be sending you details with how to get more information and how to partner in with her on Teach for Nigeria. We're joining in with Mrs. Fakoya right now, Ade Fakoya, and she is a practitioner, she's a teacher, and so we're going to be talking another perspective with her. From another perspective with Mrs. Fakoya. She's going to join in any moment now. The discussion still continues. We're still conversing. Mrs. Fakoya, can you see me?
Yes, please, but I doubt if you will be able to see me.
Oh dear. Okay. We just have to do what we have to do, isn't it? You're on the go. You're on the road. All right.
Yep.
Well, you're welcome. And we will try as much as possible to capture your voice rather than see your face, even though I'm sure a number of people would have loved to see your face.
Well,
but you're welcome.
What we'll probably do is for a short while, but you know, I don't think it's so safe to have the light in your car on.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. That's
the
fine.
phone is in its the phone is in its holder. So
okay, so let's we might as well let's just hit it. Okay, all right. So good evening once again, Ade Fakoya. You are called the Uber Mom.
Uber Mom.
You are a certified primary and early years practitioner with 20 years post-qualification experience. You are a teacher's trainer in methodology, practice, and content development, enrichment using technology. You're a member of a team piloting imaginal education in Nigeria. You've helped and you help in building curriculum content and processes for schools using your working knowledge of education and developmental psychology philosophies. You've developed training materials and facilitated training in how we learn. You belong to a couple of platforms and groups and organizations in the teaching and educational sector. You have participated also in training first two cohorts with Teach for Nigeria. So you're very acquainted with Folawe Omikunle, okay? And also you are presently a year 6 teacher and deputy head academics in a private primary school where you have developed a purposeful, well-rounded social studies program. That's a very, very robust profile, I must let you know. And it's very informative, and it informs the questions that we're going to be asking. We've had a discussion with Folawe, and she's basically talked about her own area as Teach for Nigeria, how they are projecting and how they're engaging and also expressing their values in developing minds, reorientating the minds of not only teachers, but also students and also parents as well as stakeholders in the industry. So I'd like to start from your profile. It's clear that skill is very important, the skill of teaching. It seems like you have it down to science right now. Why do you think that for a teacher, you need to have all of this sophisticated acclamations before you can effectively establish teaching or establish knowledge?
We grow every day in everything we're doing. In the lovely words of Barney, when we do it every day. So I didn't start with all these accolades. I didn't start with all the skills, but I started with the basics. The basics are the mustard seed. One,
Yes.
you have to be a learner. You have to be a lifelong learner. Learning has to excite the cockles of you. To be a teacher, you've got to be somebody who drinks knowledge, who the fount of knowledge excites you. Knowledge excites me silly. You know, to be a teacher, that has to be there. That's number one. That's the first nugget. The second nugget is you have to be able to learn. You know, it's different for you to just learn on the fly. It's another thing for you to be intentional. And then the third one is science has got to back this up. You have to work, as my friend Rhoda says, it has to be data backed. What does the data say? What does the research say? What does the neuroscience say? How do human beings learn? Human beings can be adults, they can be children. How do humans learn? If those three are present in your life, in all honesty, you can then work towards becoming a professional teacher. But you cannot be someone who you know that nonsense that they say when you correct somebody, somebody says something wrong and they say who grammar ep. If you're of that ilk, there's so much more for you. You know, teaching is just for you. The world is big enough. So those three, you don't need to start with the oak tree. You can start with the acorn. Yeah.
Okay, so to simplify, for people who want to learn, and we're not restricting our discussion to just the learning in the formal education sector. We're talking learning as in developing yourself, developing your mind, opening up your mind for knowledge share. What do you think is going on in the education sector? Like I asked Folawe, why there is that correlation of a teacher and a struggle. Where do you think that disconnect came from? And what do you, as a teacher, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, the disconnect might have come from the time of the Industrial Revolution. What do I mean by that? Education was brought to us as a way not to enhance what we already had as Africans, but it was brought to us as a way to unsavage our savagery. Our supposed savagery. Not bearing in mind that the first universities of the whole world were in Africa. Bearing in mind that science and technology actually started from Africa. Bearing in mind that the first mathematical artifacts, the Lebombo bone formats, were in Africa, you know? So, and then it then coalesced when we believed that. When we believed that in essence, we were being unsavaged. And every learning that we had before the advent of that formal industrial line education, we believed that everything was wrong. I think that is where disconnect started. Our disconnect started from forgetting who we were as Africans. Now it then coalesced when we also continued that, you know, hewers of wood and fetchers of water. You know, we continued, you know, they reared us, so to speak, like battery chickens. We were reared to be their clerks, to be their stewards, to be their shopkeepers. Mr. Giwa is a shopkeeper. I'm sure you remember that book.
Yes, yes.
Mr. Giwa is a shopkeeper. You know, now we have to come back to ourselves. The struggle is still there. And the struggle is the struggle of change. You know, it's difficult. We first need to believe that this that we are doing, this that we are calling formal education, is not serving the children of now. And it will not serve the future. Two things. It is not serving us now, and it will not serve the future. Now, nowadays I'm happy that children are being asked, what do you want to do when you grow up? Before, we used to be asked, what do you want to be? I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a governor. What do you want to do?
So that's a more prevailing question. What do you want to do? Not what do you want to be?
Not at all. What do you want to do? What do you want to do will determine the kind of skills you need to speak. Yes, we are all still learning something, and we are all still believing that mastery is possible for all. That is the imaginal philosophy. Mastery is possible for all. Not some children,
not some few.
No, it's possible for all. So that is where the struggle comes. We are doing what we ought not, and it is not helpful.
Thank you for helping me. Thank you. I'm sorry to cut you. Thank you for helping me to understand where that trajectory of mindset, because I never thought about it from that angle, that we had put ourselves in that psychological and mental box to the colonial times. So during the colonial time, you would find that the teachers were the ones with the short and the shirt and the tie, and they seemed to be the ones that were the knowledgeable, but they weren't so rich. They were not, they seemed to be comfortable, but you could still see the Oba, or you could see the chief or some other people doing well in business. But the teacher is the teacher. He just goes around with the cane. That's what you're trying to and so it didn't matter whether they were rich or in fact, they weren't supposed to be rich. They were just supposed to be teachers and just impact and share knowledge and stick with it. And that's how we have grown. And the reward would be in heaven. I get it. It makes more sense now. So it's time for us to break out of that box. It's time and that's why Falawa was talking about addressing a mindset, so that there's a shift in the mind for people to see it as a way to live, to be knowledgeable and still live above average, that it is possible. So therefore, collaborations and profile and connections have to be as sophisticated as possible, so that you can latch and log into the sector where it is that there's that budget available. Yes. I get it now. I get it. Thank you so much for that. Okay, so the question that Nigeria has been patronized by people who could not succeed in choosing vocations, and the people who believe that teaching is a way out, it's like a spare time job. How do you see that? Let me talk about what you've called yourself an Uber mom, and you're also a teacher, and you're a full-time teacher. Why do you think that there's the mindset or that impression that if you're joining in another job with the teaching, you're not able to deliver quality? Your delivery will not be quality for the children.
Well, as with many generalizations, is based on a faulty premise. Let me take you to, I'm Uber mom. Yes, the Uber mom. I'm a super mom. But see, I've done so many things. I was the host for 2 seasons of the 3 Crowns Royal Family Game Show. So that's 26 episodes, 2 seasons on TV. Oh yes. I train corporations. At the time, I used to make clothes, but I decided, physical work is not is not for me. I'd rather do cerebral work. And there are many things I do. I also have children in England that I tutor every day. So I'm their teacher. They're in England, they're in Northampton, and I'm in my Ogun State residence. Now, it doesn't then mean that the ones under my care, basically under my professional care, they're still my children. It doesn't mean I will give them any less of me. You can, the analogy can be of a parent. You have one child and your first child, and you give all the love you have to this first child, and you think, man, I can't have a second child. There's no way I can love a second child the way I love this child. And then you have a second child, and you see that your love multiplies. Now, if I have enough money, shouldn't the logic be that if I am not teaching because I am poor, I will be able to do better? Think about it. If I have another stream of income that can balance the not so premium income I'm getting from teaching, won't I be a better teacher?
I assume so. I definitely, because it would give you,
that's the logic. So I get it. I get it. Many school owners, in fact, many employers say, no, I don't want you to have a second stream of income. And I'm thinking, you really want to employ a thief. Because if you don't want me to have a second stream of income, I'm going to rob you blind because I'm going to need that money. So I think it is important for us to know that there is a social construct behind every profession, and anybody who can do, who is versatile. Versatility is a beautiful thing. So if you can do other things, it will actually enrich your practice as a teacher. The many other things I do enrich my practice as a teacher.
Okay, so what exactly would you say are the basic fundamental requirements for a teacher? I know that back in time, we used to have, because my mom was a teacher. I'm a product of a teacher. My mom had her NCE, and she used that NCE to work for a very, very long time. And she was not only very smart, but I learned a lot, and that's, how I am today. It wasn't until I was about 12 that she went back to do a degree, to get her degree in education. It just tells the quality of the product that was turned out even back in the time. I dare say that has really been on a decline right now, and it's very sad to observe these changes. At this point where it is that we have this decline, what would you say that as a teacher and somebody working in that field would be the bedrock of qualification that is required for a teacher to be a good one, to be considered to be a good one?
I dare say a first degree. Now, that first degree doesn't have to be in education. It has to be a good first degree. I'm also an employer. I'm also a talent scout. And I actually kind of sort of run away from people with education degrees.
Right.
I do.
Why is that?
Why? Yeah. JAMB is over 400, yes? To get into education, you need only 104. Right. 104 over 400 is 1/4. 1/4 is 25%. So someone who got into their first degree on a 25% basis, not on an excellence basis, are you going to trust a doctor who got into med school with 1/4? Let's bring it down. So what makes a medical practitioner more important than a teacher? A medical practitioner will be taught by a teacher.
The teacher.
Exactly.
Correct.
If you look at countries where education seems so fantastic, countries in Scandinavia and all those, Finland, the best of the best become teachers. The best of the best. Switzerland, the best of the best become teachers. And bit by bit from us, we need to work towards that. But right now, what we have, the first thing that I would say is a first degree. Any first degree.
Would you request or would you require that they go through a proper teacher training institute? Sort of thing that the Teach for Nigeria or platforms like that would do to train them?
Well, if you notice what youth service is doing now, youth service is ensuring that most of the youth corps members teach.
Okay.
You know, so a lot of them already have that before they come to us. A lot of them already have that 1 year foray into teaching, and it kinds of either makes or mars them.
It provides an inroad into that space.
Yes, and for them, you sort of let them know if I don't want to do this, or well, I think I can do this. Now, it's also important for all employers of teachers, whether private school or public schools, to actually then do intensive training, on the job training, inset, you know, in-service training, insets. It behooves every employer of teachers to ensure that teachers are trained. Teach for Nigeria is doing such fantastic job. They are training people who have first degrees. Notice they are not teachers.
Yes.
You know, you have the cohorts are usually young, driven human beings.
Yeah.
And sometimes after their 2 years, they decide, you know, I think I want to stay.
Yes.
Now that is so great an inflow, so great an influx of qualified teachers. Yes, there's also the teacher qualification, the what's it called? The teacher certification that they say we should get.
Yes.
Well, to fulfill all righteousness, I guess getting it is okay. But honestly, we still have a way to go. We still have a way to go. So I read some of the forms, and on one form, I remember specifically the form said, tick the correct alphabets. And I was thinking, alphabets, really? Do they mean tick the correct letters? And I'm thinking, the alphabet is the whole codification of all letters. If the body in charge of teacher certification and teacher training does not know the difference between letters and alphabets, what are we doing? What are we doing? But you see, I tell my madam, the owner of Sunnydale School, I tell her that we're all fishing from the same fetid waters. So whatever we get, we brush up. Whatever we get, everybody comes in as coal. You brush them up and you get your diamonds out. So everybody goes through intensive training.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Help me understand also, in the education sector.
Yes, please.
Would there be a different criterion or a different set plan for the private schools and in respect to the public school? How does it work?
That is for employment.
For employment, and also even the umbrella governing body. Do you have the private school ownership and practitioners under the Lagos State or the federal? Because I understand that there is a federal governing body for teachers, just as there is for the state as well. Do you work under the ambience of that governing body?
Well, we work under the umbrella of the Lagos State government as a private school because we got our certification from the Lagos State government. So if federal, I think the places where federal has a say is when it comes to all those exams, you know, like the National Common Entrance Examination. We're a early years and primary school. So when it comes to the National Common Entrance Examinations, we're under federal, we write it, we're checked up. The Lagos State government, funny enough, is the one who checks us to make sure that we do that exam. Then there is also the Lagos State exam, Lagos State primary school living exam. So there's Lagos State. So there's also the Lagos State exams, which we do, and Lagos State SUBEB also checks us out. All that. So we're fully, well, I guess we're more under SUBEB than we are under federal, because it is
you're more under SUBEB. Right.
Yes, it is SUBEB who checks us to make sure, to make sure that we have written the National Common Entrance. So I think each state Each state is under their state, and each school is under their state, and then the state is then under the federal. So when the state is under federal, you know, it is the state that will give the federal the feedback, not us, not the school.
Okay.
It is the state which will give the federal the feedback.
So in the areas of incentive or probable sanctions for not delivering a certain level of quality, is there any governing body, or is there even a process like that in the teaching, in the education sector? And if there is, to who do you account to?
Yes, the Office of Quality Assurance. The Office of Quality Assurance is under the Lagos State Ministry of Education.
Okay. Okay.
So they are the ones who ensure that we do what we say we're doing. And they come, they assess, they inspect, and then they give a grade. Much like Ofsted in England.
Okay. So somebody defined professionalization of teaching as a process involving improvement in the status and practice of the occupation as the practitioner continually upgrades knowledge, skills, and attitudes required for effective and efficient professional practice. Some other people do not think that teaching is a profession, largely because you cannot directly bill students. You know, you can't say that you're doing overtime. You can't say that there's a structure, you know, where it is that there's a database, or you can benchmark your KPIs. And what is your thought on that?
Wow. If anyone says teaching is not a profession, I should be so afraid of the human being. There are KPIs, and KPIs have benchmarks. 1, there is overtime, and you get paid overtime. 2, now teaching is kind of different in that.
Are you talking from the perspective of the private sector, not the public sector?
Both actually. In the public sector. In the public sector, there is when they do those Saturday, there's some Saturday thingies that they do, and they get paid for it. Public schools.
Okay.
There's some extra lesson and all those things. There's stuff they do, and they get paid for it. So I mean, they're not calling it overtime like the industry, like you're in a factory, but you will get paid for the little extras that you do. Yes. Now, teaching is kind of different in that it is both a vocation and a profession. That is the difference, because it is two-pronged. People choose to see it as all or nothing, and it is not all or nothing. It is both a vocation and a profession, with all the professional bodies, with all the professional now what word am I looking for? Benchmarks, really. The benchmarks, the measurements, the assessments, the appraisals, they are all there. They're all there, done by both public and private. I think Mrs. Shorombo is the one in charge of the quality assurance, and then Mrs. Adefisayo is the one in charge of Lagos State, the Commissioner for Education of Lagos State. And those two women are doing fabulous work both in private and public education. So I mean, and they are professionals. Yes. I dare anybody to say they aren't professionals.
Okay, thank you for clearing that out for us. Now, there was an interview that I found that I was part of, and this young man had started to invent machines. Even in this COVID season, he had started to invent machines that can use in dispensing, to dispense the sanitizers and to wash as well. So somewhere along the line, he had done some inventions, and a school in England had invited him to come and study. And Ade, the young man left to London and he started classes, but he dropped out of school. He came back to Nigeria. He dropped out because he struggled with the theoretical aspect of his studies. Even though he had the inclination and the mind, the wherewithal in his mind, he couldn't express or even accept or receive the theory behind his knowledge. So he had this innate knowledge to invent something as strong, as useful. So he came back, and today he has started to build small robotic cars, and he did not go to school. So what is the role of a teacher in that man's life?
Well, I can try to diagnose a bit and say that he wasn't taught the way he learns.
Right.
The brain science. Sorry, there's a truck behind me, so the light is getting me.
Okay.
But the brain science says that every human can learn, but every human cannot learn the same way. Now, when he was taken to England, he was like a flower. Maybe let's say he was like a tropical flower taken to a temperate region. It would have been tough for him to blossom. He was uprooted from his natural inclination. So if here as he is back in Nigeria, if the same lovely people who could take him to England could hook him up with some Nigerian teachers who will give him the theory in the way he would learn it.
Yes. Somebody here says he needed experiential learning.
No. He has it already. He needs to know when you're talking about centrifugal force, when you're talking about centripetal force, when you're talking about initial velocity and final velocity. That is what he needed to add. Let me ask, what is the difference between Fela and Sunny Ade? Do you know?
No, what's the difference?
Fela has knowledge of the theory of music.
Yes.
That's the Fela can write you annotation, musical annotation, and give you the score of any music he's playing. So when Fela says second bass, Jare, what he's saying is he wants to hear the second bass guitar, because there's more than one bass guitar, and he knows what he has written for the second bass to play. He knows the score that the second bass should play. Sunny Ade has the same knowledge that Fela has as a musically. Sunny Ade writes his music, but he doesn't write it like writing the quavers and the semitones and all that.
Semitones, yes.
He will probably write do, mi, so, then put 2 dots beside the saw for you to know that it's longer played than the mi, 1 dot beside the mi. Now, who will have more global appeal?
Fela, I think.
Exactly.
Okay.
And we would
but they're both successful, Ade. Yes. They're both successful.
Yes. But globally, Fela would be put on a higher pedestal than Sunny, even though they are both successful. So this is bringing me back to this young man. This young man is a successful scientist. He's a successful scientist who will be even more successful. You will hear his name like you hear Einstein's name if he knows the theory. Do you understand where I'm going? And the theory
the teacher was not able to connect effectively with him. That's what you're trying to say.
Exactly.
So that is really important in the process of learning, isn't it?
Exceedingly, in fact, it's imperative that you create connections. It is imperative because the brain cannot receive what does not excite it. Learning is a stimulus to the neurons of the brain. And if the learning does not excite the brain, the neurons will not fire. If the neurons
but you also must know. I get it, Ade. We dwell a lot on theory in Nigeria. somebody says practical applications of knowledge is severely lacking in Nigeria. So it's one thing for us to get the books and be reading out and just imbibe and cram these things in, but the practical application of it in itself, that's a different kettle of fish.
Okay, should I say how I remember U squared is equal to, V squared is equal to plus AT squared? Do you know how I remembered it? Toy cars were put on a slope to show me initial velocity and final velocity. Toy cars.
But that was made practical. That was made vivid for you.
Yes, it was made real. Yes, there was a connection to show me how it works in real life.
Yes.
Without which it makes no sense to me. What is the meaning of E equals MC squared? Show me E, show me MC squared. Hey, what's the usefulness? What's the usefulness of simultaneous equation? As the Yoruba people will say, kini is equal to. What are they using it to do?
Yeah.
But you have to show me. You have Pythagoras theorem. What is the usefulness? I can show a child, okay, this person is here, this person is there. Google Maps, how do we want to reach there? When the child sees that the straight line is the hypotenuse, the child will see that, oh my goodness, my mommy uses Pythagoras theorem every time we're coming to school when she opens Google Maps. Pythagoras theorem sticks. It shows you that it is useful for life.
So these are the things that, yes, I get it. So these are the ideologies that we need to perpetuate, that must go beyond just the facet of the private schools, because it seems to me that it's only the private schools that have this accessibility that have accessibility to this sort of knowledge.
Sadly, well, let me be positive about it. Little drops of water make a mighty ocean. Yes. I have met, when I was studying for my NTI, the NTI certificate, National Teachers Institute, because I was told that my first degree in psychology did not make me a teacher, and I had to go to NTI to become a teacher. I remember I met quite a number of public school teachers that were on fire. But you see, they're not enough. But I will choose to be positive and say little drops of water make a mighty ocean.
So and what you say, what do you think that the government can do, so that we don't just keep hitting on things? What do you think the missing connect is, and how can we get as much of these thought ideas and this thought process into that sector, into the public sector?
Okay. The first thing the government needs to do is realize that the system is broken. That's number one. Yeah. The system is broken. You cannot think you're going to make any transformation if you don't know that the system is broken. So the system is broken. The second thing would be that let practitioners who have gone the way show the way. It irks me to no end when I hear that the curriculum was developed by some professors who have never stepped foot into a classroom. Let practitioners lead the way. If I tell you what is in this curriculum that these wonderful professors have written for us, Primary 3 Social Studies, how to choose a life partner. Early years,
really,
how to make sure you don't get HIV. Ha! It can be funny, but it's sad.
Yeah. It's sad. It's sad.
Who have gone the way, put a think tank together of these practitioners and let us rework the curriculum. After we rework the curriculum, let us be together. Come on, we have 6 weeks of holiday.
Yeah.
Let us, like a youth service, 2-3 weeks, a teaching camp. Let there be a teaching camp for 2-3 weeks.
Like the teacher session.
Yes. Public to go on campus in what's the name of that place? My dad used to go there, somewhere in Badagry. It's a government institution training.
Not okay.
We have forgotten, you know, but they're government places where they have enough room. Where they have enough room for 1,000, 2,000 teachers in every different state.
Right.
In every different state. And we will be there for 2-3 weeks. Up in the morning, exercise. When we exercise, you know, we do it the way it should be done. So you practice what you preach.
ASCON. Somebody says ASCON.
ASCON. Oh, God be blessed whoever that somebody is. Yes. Yeah, thank you. You know, that is for Lagos. And I'm sure there are ASCONs all over the nation.
All over the nation.
Yes, put us somewhere for 3 weeks and let us hash out our salvation with fear and trembling. Because we're going nowhere like this. Honestly, we're going, and there are more in the public school than there are in the private school.
Yes.
There's a Yoruba proverb that says, meaning when you have a relation and you see your relation eating something that is lethal to the system, and you're saying, I'm not the one eating. By the time that your relation is rolling on the floor at night, you will not sleep. So, you know, we're sitting on a keg of gunpowder. We sink together or we swim together. It is together.
It's already blowing up in our faces. And, you know, it's clearly evident in the products that are being churned out on a daily basis. Like Folawe said, that there are quite a number of people, or there were quite a number of interests in the program for the Teachers for Nigeria. But after a serious selection process, just a few were on point and selected on the basis of the criteria that they had designed. So a lot of people are probably going into it just because they want to make ends meet and they want to be able to earn something. But we sincerely need those who are passionate and who are ready to give themselves under very stringent atmosphere or circumstances, because you will agree with me that teaching has to be an innate passion thing. You have to be passionate about it, isn't it?
Everything. Being a parent, you have to be passionate about it. It's not about society. Being a tailor, you have to be passionate about it. Being a medical doctor, you have to be passionate about it. There has to be passion in everything you do.
Yes. Okay, you know, we're going to, and I wouldn't want us to just rush through again, because we did that with Folawe and we couldn't really finalize. One of the things that I wanted to ask was, how would you describe a learner? And how would you desire that leadership, a sense of leadership and discovery is taught through as a curriculum item in schools for children?
Okay, so two things, who is a learner and then how to embed leadership.
How to embed leadership.
Yes. So a learner is anyone who has a desire to make a change. If the change can be as little as tying my shoelaces, and the change can be as creating a windmill that would give electricity. So anybody who has a desire is just the baseline. Once you have a desire to have a change in any form, you're a learner. So that is that about that. Now, when it comes to leadership, you know, there are times I believe, and this is me, there are times I believe we miss it. And what do I mean by that? You know, we have more and more and more curriculum items every day. First, they said primary schools should start doing Greek science. Pourquoi? You know, more and more and more. So I just think that there are things that can be embedded in every curriculum item. Leadership can be embedded in your graduate profile, meaning by the time you leave year 6, you should, these are the traits that you should show. By the time you leave JS3, maybe you want to go to the technical maybe you want to go to the technical college from JS3. These are the traits that you show. So there will be milestones Milestones generally. Yes, general milestones. You know, I went to the University of Ibadan. When you're graduating, they will say you have found something in learning and character. You're found worthy or something in learning and character. That's what UI does at graduation, in learning and character. Because there's a graduate profile. There's a character graduate profile for a graduate of University of Ibadan. So this is how it's supposed to be everywhere. So that leadership can be embedded in everything. First, ownership of your learning is a leadership trait.
Absolutely.
Every learner must own their learning. Yes, you lead yourself. Every leader, every learner must own their learning. So that it's not just having leadership lessons or critical reasoning subjects. Or, in everything you do, embed critical reasoning. In everything you do, embed leadership. I think it's the way it will go. Please give me permission to ask a question. Jadi Rombi says I'm on a tangent. Is that positive or negative? Because if someone is on a tangent, it means the person has gone off. So am I going
on tangent? Okay, we'll have him answer that as you go on.
Or am I? Okay.
We'll have him answer that as you go on.
Okay. Thank you. So really, those are the 2 points. The learner.
Okay. So then, you know, so basically, having to have the he says positive.
Oh,
he says positive. Ogurumbi says positive. Okay, all right. So I can clearly conclude that what you're saying is that even at the very young early stages, areas of leadership and, you know, items that allude to how to discover yourself should be infused in the curriculum. Is that correct?
In every learning experience, you know, even on the playground, this is how we do this. Why do we do this? This is why I keep my hands to myself. I am the boss of my hands. I can tell my hands what to do.
Yeah.
This is for a 4-year-old. Yes.
Yeah.
So do we? You will hear, by the time you start that, you will hear another 4-year-old telling another 4-year-old, "Are you using your words?" You know, they will help one another. They will call one another out, and then they will congratulate. Oh, you kept your hands to yourself. Well done. You know, without it being the teacher facilitating, that is leadership. That is leadership. Parts like that.
Okay, so we're going to be talking with somebody from Subeb tomorrow, and I have taken a few points from talking with you and also my discussion with Folawe. It is my hope that the trajectory that Lagos State is already building and working towards is effective enough, and some of these ideas can be taken into. I can't understand why the real practitioners should not be involved in the process of designing the curriculum for the
professors state, now. You don't know. We're not professors. This is the certificate.
But you know, we're happy about the fact that at least one of the people that you have mentioned, Mrs. Adefisayo, is also somebody that is strong in that industry, and she already also knows what it entails. I'd like to thank you so much, Adi, for making time out to share with us. Thank you for your learnings, and thank you for the passion that you have exhibited and that you are still exhibiting. We pray that we make that turn, you know, in the education. I think that once we start, like you have said, baby steps and little drops, when we start that in Lagos, it can be replicated in every other state, and we can gradually just get that tipping point of achieving again the good quality products that we used to have back in the days. We're not limiting it only to the 4 walls of a school. We also feel that it should be expressive in every aspect and every area of our lives. So we keep going, and it's not over till it's over. Thank you so much, Adi. Sorry?
It's not over till we
It's
win.
not over. Yes, it's not over till we win. Thank you so much for the time. And if you're just able to put on the light for a brief moment so that you can just have everybody say bye-bye to you, that will be good. All right, so I hope you all can see her. Thank you so much for joining in. Ogurombi Jade, very, very actively involved. Thank you, Sheyola Teju. Thank you. D for Georgia. Hi, thank you. Shirley G, Jide Olowe, Titai. Thank you so much for trusting and logging in and joining in the conversation. There's still a lot more. We're going to be talking with somebody from SUBEB tomorrow. And we'll be postulating from the angle of the government what is being available, what is provided for this sector, for the education sector. In the meantime, I hope you have a good evening. Please stay safe and be as COVID-19 compliant as possible. Thank you, Ade. Have a good evening. Safe drive home. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye. See you all tomorrow for 7 o'clock with the SUBEB, member of the SUBEB board, Mr. Dayo Israel. He's going to be sharing a lot with us all. Please stay tuned and have a good evening. Bye for now.
Bye for now. Thank you.